Okay. Good evening. This is the Chicago Computer Society's uh, South Suburban Computer Club meeting for February 2024. Uh, this evening, we're going to have a lot of material to try and cover. We'll only cover a small portion of it. A lot has happened in the last month, and I've got a long laundry list of articles you ought to read. At any rate, we'll start off with does anybody have any questions not related to the last 2 months' presentations on the Windows 11 settings? Gee, don't everybody pipe in at once. All right. Does anybody have questions on December's and January's settings that we talked about?
Tim, just to say that I download the PC Manager from the Microsoft Store. That's the 3.3.
Yes.
And once I found out from the meeting talk that there is a beta, I went out to TechSpot, got the beta, and I'm up to 3.8. And there's a whole lot more you can do with it than there is with 3.3.
Oh, yeah. Well, they don't update that on the store as much. And it used to be not in the store, but on the actual Microsoft website. Then they moved it to the store, and they're real slow about getting the latest, greatest version off of GitHub in order to always keep people up to date. All right. Uh, I've got some odds and ends I'm going to go over first. And it's nice for Harry to have shown up tonight. Uh, I don't know for some of you how much you use Task Manager. Anybody not use Task Manager? It
I use
doesn't.
it. I use it quite a bit, to check sometimes to see what's going on.
Okay. How about you, Harry?
Yeah, I use it if I run into a little problem or something. I go look at see if I can figure out if it's coming from there or if for some reason there's more things running than I think there are.
Okay. How about you, Bob?
Yes, I use it to manage processes and apps, as
Okay.
well as I like the resource manager because I can see what various resources are doing.
All right. Hang loose for 1 second here. You won't see it yet until I bring it up, and I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna
I'm trying to remember
share,
now.
and I got a
You
new corpse. I don't even know who it was yet. We got a new one coming in.
okay?
Ah, Melvin Matthias. Hello, Melvin. Hello, Melvin. Where are you at? Hmm, interesting. I don't see him right now. Oh, there. Hey, Melvin, you're muted. besides not having your camera on, if I didn't see him listed here, and that because of the different screens going on.
It shows that he's on, but it shows
Yes.
his camera's on, but it shows that his microphone is off.
Right. His camera shows blank here on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Well, anyway, I'm going to start proceeding here. I'm in Task Manager here, and I'm going to enlarge that some. Ah, there's Melvin. You're muted still, your microphone. Anyway, here in Task Manager, of course, you can see the current tasks that I have presence. They may be dormant at the moment or running. That's normal. But if you come down to the second icon on the left side, on Windows 10, you have the horizontal tabs at the top. The second one is your performance.
Yeah.
Now, usually CPU shows up, and this is the CPU on my system right now. As you can see, I'm a little overloaded. It's got a speed of 2.83, only 4 cores, no hyper-threading. You come down to the next level. This is memory. It says it's got a clock of 1333. I got 16 gigs of memory in the system. The 16 gig shows just above your images, at least on my system. Then you have your C drive, and I also have an F drive on there. I separated the page file out to F, a very small partition. Disk 1 happens to be a spinning hard drive. The new graphics card that I put in last month is this one here, and there isn't much to see about it, but right now it's helping out with Zoom because most of the time next to nothing is showing here. And I'm not joking. This is a discrete graphics card. That can be very important. Why? Discrete graphics cards can accelerate and help Windows 11 video performance, even if you're even if you're not in a movie or a Zoom meeting. It can help Windows 11 at times, depending on what you are doing. Now, that said, there's also maybe as many as 11 other different accelerators out there. One of them would be audio cards, like the old Sound Blaster cards. And bottom line, those cards, if you're an audiophile, can dramatically help improve your music playing on your computer. There are many, many other cards that do something similar. And I skipped over the Ethernet here, of which the second one is for VirtualBox. Only the one up here is the actual internet that I'm using right now, which is Ethernet, which I use most of the time anyhow. But if I take and double click one of the entries, I get what some would call a widget that Bob Premick is familiar with, and he has shown people before. And it's a case where I can keep monitoring off to the side somewhere, left side, right side, whatever is happens to be convenient. I can see what's going on my system, Windows system. I think this will work in 10. I didn't try it, but it does. I found this out accidentally in 11. I didn't
So
read any article.
what did you do to get this now?
Well, when hang on a minute. Uh,
I've got my task manager running.
no, there we go. I got. Here's the regular entry,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna move that over here. All right. All I got to do is take one of these entries over here and double click it.
Okay.
And now it's that. Now,
Okay. It works.
well, it was supposed to work. It better work, or I'll get ticked off with it.
Yeah, with mine, no matter which one I click, I get all of them inside a single widget.
Yeah, that's what happened for me.
And that's
So,
good.
so that's
Okay.
my tip number one of the evening. Now,
Great.
and hang loose. Let me lose my marbles. There it is. I just want to
Yeah, that
post.
as a widget, it can just sit off to the side.
Yeah.
Can you
Uh,
change the size of it?
Yes, you can
you can
resize
change
it
the
in the
size
normal
of the
way.
box around it, but it won't really change the size of the images.
Okay.
Right. Images and fonts remain the same, but if you've got
Okay.
extra white space, you can reduce it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, another thing that I want to bring up is, and I hope it works on the browser I have up here. If you come up to whatever browser you got, you either got three buttons or three bars. Uh, you have a zoom option. And this one here has an in and out option, but it only has fixed 50%, 100%, and 200%. On most other browsers, you have one line and it gives you gradient increase, decrease in your zooming feature. So this is every browser I've tried out, this item works. Okay? So that's something else to look forward to. Now, this is going to get a little bit hairy, but we're going to try this one, and with good reason. And this is on Harry Nelson. Harry sent me an email, and this is the gist of it. No alias, bogus phishing with likely malware payload, etc., etc. Now, that is the message he sent me in relationship to a message I had sent out about a special. I don't remember the details right now. At any rate, the key that I'm trying to bring up, and Harry, Harry, you can pipe in anytime now. I hope with the what the title of that email was about.
That email was a one that I had received under your name, which is why I sent it the way I did.
Right.
It came to me with your name on it, and but when you go into the click on your name and go to the background, it was a different name.
And the
But I've
key,
been getting messages from you in that same method.
Okay.
And also I've gotten them from Water Mousy.
Well, see, the thing is,
The same thing comes through.
the message he sent has my name. But if you look after my name, it gives the account identification. And it didn't say TECH1 at yahoo.com.
Nope.
It was all garbage. And that was a phishing attempt. So don't look at just the person from name. Look at the email address after the name. If it doesn't look like the real address of that person, it's probably a phishing expedition. And
Yeah.
if he clicked on anything in the body of that email, he probably would have gotten infected with malware, possibly a back door, and the back door would have let a hacker in to do anything they wanted to on his computer. I've seen that happen before with someone else who wasn't a CCS member. That's why I wanted to bring that to your attention. So always look at the from email address. Does it look like it's really from the person whose name is to the left? If it doesn't look real, it isn't. It's a fishing expedition.
Well, it appears that it came from, oh, somehow it came out of your contact list with mine being sent to me.
Yes, I understand that, but it wasn't an infection.
So
Somehow
you got hacked.
somebody's gotten a hold of email somewhere along the line, got my name and your name, and put the two together. But I run malware bites periodically, and I haven't come up with any infections.
Yeah, so do I, and I haven't gotten any infections that showed that up either. But
And that means somebody else who knows both of us did get that information from somebody else, possibly Vicky. She's Mouse.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
And so that's my suspicion. She got hacked, didn't even know it. They harvested her contact list, got our names and addresses, and tried to put out a fake message in our name, in her name and my name, with a bogus email address. All right. Another item that I have here is that this was kind of a weird one. I brought it up at Tips and Tricks, but I'm bringing it up here again because there is at least one or person here that wasn't at that meeting. And generally speaking, it had to do with an oddity I didn't even know existed. It has to do with flash drives. And once you're on 10 or 11 and you do certain operations, it changes it from an MBR partitioning to GPT. How did I find this out? I was trying to create a new rescue drive for my backup software, and it's basically told me, take a flying leap. I can't use that flash drive. And it did have in its message GPT. It took me several times before I understood what it might be talking about. So what I did was bring up Disk Manager on my system. Now, normally to really use that tool or a device manager, you have to have a different setup. So hang loose for 1 second. I know this is going to fry your marbles, but that's part of my job, is to fry your marbles. Okay, and I'm going to share that. I'm going back to the desktop, and you are in my way. So there we go. Oh, you rat. Darn it. Hang there. I want to get that down, and
Tim, I would like to say something about how rescue media get created, at least in Macro and Reflect, but we'll wait till there's a time when we can
okay.
do that.
Yeah, you can do that right after I get done with this one.
Right.
What I do, and this is not for everybody. I use disk management, device management, and cleanup manager quite a bit. Okay. I'm on my standard desktop where I should be. Normally, to run these three utilities that are part of Windows and have been for God knows how long, generally speaking, you have to be an administrator. Now, if you go to the administrator's login, right click on the start button, whether you're in 10 or 11, you will see a device manager. A little bit lower, you'll see a disk management, but you will not see the cleanup manager. That's part of the properties of your C drive, and you have to go on the clean up a disk button that's next to the graphic image of the how much of your drive is used versus not used. At any rate, if I click on either one of these, it's going to pop up a URL for my administrator's password, and they will work. So I'm going to bring up Disk Manager. You won't see the URL. Cut it out. I got a cat in my lap demanding attention, and I just heard somebody trying to get in. And this is James Kincaid coming in. Late. Hello, James. Come on, James. Okay. James, you're muted and you don't have your camera on if you want to be seen. Anyway, here is Disk Manager. And if I scroll down a little bit here, you'll see that I've only got 3 drives right now in the system. Well, when you stick in a flash drive, and I'm not going to do it right now, you would see another drive here. And off to the side, it told me that it was a GPT partition. And so bottom line was, I knew that was the problem. Within this, you have the ability, and I didn't dig into the details. I got an article on it that allows you to easily switch it back to MBR. Then you go and create the restore media, and it's done. Now, Bob, you had a comment on that, and I'll let you go on that one.
I just, with Macro and Reflect, I don't know if this is universally true of backup software. How the rescue media is created depends on whether you choose that your system is MBR or your system is UEFI. If it's EFI, you can do GPT with Macro and Reflect for the media. In fact, that's how mine come out.
Okay. Well, on mine, it wouldn't work, and I was on a 100% Windows 11 system when I was trying to create it, and it would not allow me to create it, the rescue drive, until I changed the flash drive to MBR. Once I did that, it worked 1, 2, 3. Done.
And your machine is UEFI boot?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't know. I can't answer the question what the heck happened. I just know what the problem was and how I corrected it. Now, I'm going to mention here, in case anybody else wants to do this, how do you create these? Right click on the desktop, go to New, Shortcut. Come to Browse. Go to this PC. Whoops, it moved on me. There's Terry Moy. Generally speaking, you come down to the C drive, expand that, go down further to Windows, expand that, and go all the way down to System 32 and click on it. It starts expanding the content, and it starts off with a whole bunch of folders. But if you keep going down, you eventually find individual files of varying kinds. Not all are executable. Most of them are support files. So you go down, and I'm going to go down to D's, and, well, I'll go down to C's first. And getting close. Went past it. There it is. Here's Cleanup Manager. cleanmgr.exe. I'm going to continue. I could select that one. It'll put the right address in here. And I hit next, and I would put in verbiage that says Cleanup Manager. I'm going to go down to the D's, and the first one I'm going to come up with is Device, and it's under DEV. Come on. There's a device eject too if you want to put a button on your desktop. Here's whoops. Here it is. Device management. DEV mgmt.msc. It's an executable. And it would fill this in here, and on the next page I would put device manager or management. That's up to you. And if you go down further, well, I gotta go back up, excuse me, because I skipped over it by accident. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't. Take that back. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but here you go. Disk management. diskmgmt.msc. I'm going to click that one and say OK. And it filled in its exact location on the drive. This is a must. You can't usually fill this in manually and get it to work right unless you really are familiar with the stuff. I'm going to click next, and I can change this by just typing. And if I hit finish, it says I already got one. and that's okay. I'm going to cancel that, but that would get the basic icon. So I'm going to come over here to the existing one, right click it, which is what I would do after I created the desktop icon. And I would select properties. And then you go down to advanced and you put a check mark here, run as administrator. That's required. And then click OK and OK. Move the icon wherever you want. And when you double click it, either any one of these three, it pops up the UAC, asks for your password manager for the administrator, and will run that program. And you can see functionality in the device manager. You can find out what bad drivers you got in there. You can also, if you got a bad driver update in, you may have the option of going into the properties of that device, and the second or third tab will be drivers, and you may have the highlighted option to roll back the update that's causing you a problem, and it will restore the prior working version of the driver. So those are a bunch of tips to drive you nuts. All right, now
Cleanup Manager, you won't cause issues with SSDs like some of the other disk cleanups and stuff like that do.
wait a minute, repeat that again because I must have missed something.
I said you're talking about using a cleanup manager.
The cleanup manager works
Well,
for any hard drive.
yeah, except that is that a questionable thing to use on SSDs because when it comes to cleaning up regular spinning hard drives, the same same software you would use does not work well with SSDs.
Oh, yes, it does. I work fine with it all the
Yeah,
time.
but it overworks it. It means
No,
that
it doesn't.
you're well.
All it's doing instead,
there's some question about that.
all it's
And
doing, all that disk up cleaner is doing is deleting your file permanently versus temporarily and making it recoverable with the right software. But it doesn't overtax your drive one damn bit.
it's not moving things around in order to get rid of gaps and put things
No,
together.
no, that's the defragger. You
Yeah,
don't
well,
run the defragger on an SSD.
right.
I've been
Windows tries to protect you against that by doing trim instead.
right.
Right. Yeah, I
And
know that.
and bottom line is I've been playing with the SSDs for over 12 years. How long have you been using it, Harry?
As long as they've been around.
Well, that you got to be going back 12 years then, like me.
But there were some things that you learned that you didn't want to do with them that
It
you
was
normally could have done with a spinning hard drive.
The only thing that you don't do is defrag because that does move things around.
Right,
That
right.
will wear out the drive, but so will indexing on an SSD. You
Right,
should
that's another thing you
that
shut
should
down.
be turned off.
Right. Okay.
All right. Anybody got anything else at the moment?
I have a correction. Macrim Reflect itself says in their forums they will not be able to create rescue media on GPT.
That's what I thought.
And Rufus is one of the ones that will create GPT.
And well, see, the thing is, with me and Ed, I found an article that, in fact, I'll see if I can bring that up. Let's see here.
See, I know I can put other applications onto the rescue media, and those applications usually end up on GPT drives, but not in the case of Macrim Reflect.
I think this is the one I want. I hope it. Here we go. From Microsoft. Enjoy.
Conversion.
Well, there's also a way of doing it from the command line. I don't suggest you do it because I'm not sure I would want to try it. And the reason for that is this diskpart utility was developed in the Stone Age, the real Stone Age, and they haven't improved it at all. And even I, as a tech, had some difficulties with learning to use this only when I absolutely have to. But I don't suggest people use it because it is a big problem. Now I'm going to get back out of that and in the chat.
Okay, so Tim, there is also third-party software which is much nicer to use than Diskpart.
Well, I understand that, but
And
I stumbled. I already figured out how to do it, and then I found this article, and they got an easy way of doing it in Disk Manager. There's 2 lines there. If you can't read 2 lines, you got a problem.
okay. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that what I use for it is Minitool or something like that. Somebody's got a
Harry, I think.
Feedback.
I think it's Harry. Okay, in the chat, I put in the URL for that particular article because it's not in my list. I didn't think to put it in. Give me 1 second here. I gotta figure out what the heck I'm doing.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's see if I can lose my marbles. I've lost about everything else today. Ah. Let's see. Desktop. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to hold off on that. Hang loose for a minute. I'm going to, there's a reason why I'm jumping around a little bit. It has to do with the fact that a lot of things have been popping like crazy the last 30 days. So I'm going to bring up, I accidentally hit a button that I shouldn't have. But anyway, I didn't lose anybody. I'm going to come back to that one. Now, oh, you're going to drive me up a wall. All right. Well, that got rid of some of it, but not all of it. There we go. All right. I hope I can deal with this. I'm going to play 2 short videos, and I hope it works out. I had to go back to that because I don't know. No, I didn't have it, so I'm glad I did it. First.
6 tricks that won't secure your Wi-Fi and 6 that will. Thanks to Jason Fitzpatrick for his helpful article, which prompted this video. Please read his full article on how to geek at the link listed. There are a lot of Wi-Fi security tips that don't secure your Wi-Fi network against intrusion. So skip them and focus on the security-enhancing tips and tricks that do. Like anything related to computer and network security, quite a few often repeated Wi-Fi security tricks don't help at all. Here are the tips and tricks you should avoid, and an equal number you should be sure to use. Let's start by looking at the tips and tricks that don't do much or anything at all to secure your home Wi-Fi network. Not only do these tips do little to nothing to make your network more secure, they can make it a hassle for you and everyone else in your household to use the network. Hiding your Wi-Fi network name. If there were an award ceremony for bad security tips, the advice to hide your Wi-Fi network's name, the SSID or Service Set Identifier, would surely be the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Changing your Wi-Fi network name is about as effective and security-wise as taking off a name tag at a social mixer and putting a new name tag on. Anyone paying attention certainly won't be fooled. MAC address filters. You'll waste a bunch of time managing the lists, and anyone trying to gain access to your network will just spoof an approved device or bypass your security another way. Disabling DHCP assignment. Do you know who becomes the DHCP server when there is no DHCP server? You do. It's a huge waste of time to turn off your DHCP server and manually manage every assignment. Assigning a static IP to every device. Save the static IP address assignments for when the times static IP addresses make sense, like assigning a static IP to a server or to a particular device that inexplicitly won't play nice with your router's DHCP server. Using an overly complex Wi-Fi password. Practically speaking, there's not much difference between a passphrase like Wi-Fi is awesome or FRQ4G blah 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 so on and so forth, except how much it frustrates you to type the latter into your smart TV using the remote. Get the idea? Now let's get to the Wi-Fi tips that will actually secure your network. If your Wi-Fi router is ancient, replace it. We are always trying to save money, but if you want to save money on tech, then do so by using your old iPad for as long as it gets updates, or keeping your smartphone for an extra year before upgrading. Don't skimp on your router. Frankly, the role it plays in managing and securing your network is too important. Start fresh with a new SSID and password. Setting up your network from scratch is the surest way to kick everyone that doesn't belong off your network and ensure only the devices and people you want have access. It's a hassle, sure, but if you're taking the time to overhaul the security of your Wi-Fi network, then it's worth doing it right. Update your router's firmware. If the manufacturer has current firmware updates, install them. And if the last update to your router was years ago, you should consider upgrading your router. Use a WPA2 AES or better Wi-Fi encryption. WEP, WPA, and WPA2 TKIP are all insecure. You should instead use WPA2 AES, which has not yet been deprecated, or better yet, WPA3 if all the devices on your home network support it. Set up a guest network. Guest networks make it easy to keep your main network secure by handing out what amounts to a temporary password to visitors. To avoid common issues when setting this up, follow the tips offered at the link listed. Disable WPS and UPnP. As a general rule, you should disable any features on your Wi-Fi router you are not actively using, especially if those features have known vulnerabilities. It's up to you to make the choices that better secure an old router, but it's far better to recycle your old router, replace it with something new, and lock down a current router with up-to-date firmware instead. Stay safe. Stay secure. Secure your network and router. See you again soon. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.
Now, two things on that particular video. Number one device that you want to have a static address on is a network connected printer, whether it's Ethernet or Wi-Fi. A static address works just like your house's identification number for the post office. It never changes unless you tear down your house because it blew up or burned down, and you rebuilt a new one and somehow changed the ID number, in which case you'll stop getting your mail. Good idea, especially for bills. The second thing that was brought up were disabling devices that have known security vulnerabilities. WPS, where you push a button on your router to be able to easily hook up new devices, that has always had a major vulnerability. It's best to disable WPS. I'm not joking. So, the next one I've got here is a video.
Phishing frenzy. Don't be the catch. A guide to outsmarting online scammers. Imagine this. You receive an email promising a dream vacation at an unbelievable price. It looks legitimate from a well-known travel agency, and the deal is too good to pass up. You click the link, enter your personal information, and bam! You've just become the latest victim of a cunning phishing scam. Phishing scams are more prevalent than ever, lurking in the murky corners of the internet, waiting to reel in unsuspecting victims. But fear not, fellow internet citizens. This guide equips you with the knowledge and tools to navigate the digital waters with confidence, leaving those fishers high and dry. The bait and bite, how fishers lure you in. Fishers are masters of deception, weaving elaborate tales to make their scam appear genuine. They dangle irresistible bait, exclusive deals, urgent warnings, even impersonations of trusted organizations like banks or government agencies. Remember the golden rule of the internet. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Anatomy of a fish. Dissecting the deception. Let's dissect a typical phishing email. The sender address might be spoofed to mimic a legitimate company. Urgent phrases like immediate action required or limited time offer create panic, clouding your judgment. Misspellings and grammatical errors are often telltale signs. But even well-crafted emails can be deceiving. The real giveaway lies in the links and attachments. Hovering over a link reveals its true destination, often a suspicious website designed to steal your information. Attachments, especially those with unfamiliar file formats, could harbor malware waiting to infect your device. Defense mechanisms, your phishing firewall. Now that you know how phishers operate, it's time to build your defenses. Here are your essential tools. Become a hover hero. Don't click on links in emails, texts, or social media posts. Instead, hover over them with your mouse to see the true URL. If it looks fishy, report it and delete the message. Sender savvy. Scrutinize the sender's address. Typos, odd domains, or impersonations of known organizations are red flags. If unsure, contact the organization directly through their official website or phone number. Attachment aversion. Treat email attachments with caution, especially from unknown senders. Never open suspicious file formats like .exe or .zip. Password power. Use strong, unique passwords for all your online accounts and enable multi-factor authentication for an extra layer of security. Be wary of public Wi-Fi. Avoid entering sensitive information on public Wi-Fi networks, as they can be easily compromised. Beyond the inbox, phishing's diverse hooks. Phishing isn't limited to emails. Be cautious of smishing, phishing attempts via SMS, often using similar tactics as email scams. Vishing, voice phishing, where a scammer impersonates legitimate companies over the phone. Social media phishing, fake profiles or messages designed to trick you into sharing personal information. When in doubt, remember the golden rule: verify, verify, verify. Contact the organization directly through trusted channels before responding to any suspicious messages. Empowered citizen. Together we can outsmart the phishers. By staying informed and vigilant, we can collectively make the internet a safer place. Report phishing attempts. Report suspicious emails, texts, or calls to the appropriate authorities. This helps track and shut down phishing operations. Spread awareness. Share this guide and knowledge with your family and friends. The more people informed, the fewer victims phishers will have. Remember, you hold the power to protect yourself from phishing scams. By using the tools and knowledge provided in this guide, you can navigate the digital world with confidence, leaving the phishers floundering in your wake. Stay vigilant, stay informed, stay secure, and most importantly, stay safe. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.
Okay. Basically, what we were talking about in the beginning of the meeting, and about Harry Nelson's recipient of phishing emails. Well, I hate telling you this, but I read today that phishing is up 200% over the same time last year. That increases the number of messages that are bogus phishing messages and they're doing everything they can. The second thing is, he said some of the things to watch for were spelling errors, grammatical errors. AI is going to eliminate that for these crooks. So you have to be even more vigilant as time goes on this year and next year and beyond, because AI will be used by the criminals to create perfectly spelled, perfect grammar phishing attacks. So you're going to have to learn other ways of detecting bogus ones, and never use a telephone number or URL in the message to contact some company. You go outside to a new browser tab and go directly to that company site and contact them, or pick up your phone and dial their number from that website and talk to a person about it to see if it's real or not. And odds are they're going to say it is not real. Usually, you put the word, you can take the bad message before you delete it, like he said. Do a forward link on that message and forward it to spam at and the real company name after that, .com. And they will get a copy of that whole email to try and start tracking down who the offender is. So that's something to keep in mind. When it comes to other, I keep clicking the wrong mouse. I got two keyboards, two mice to play with. Something else I came across several things. This guy is talking about Meteor Lake CPU. It's a new one, optimized for AI tools. The optimization is that some of the new Intel chips that are coming out in the 14th generation have an NPU, neural processing unit, built in. AMD is a little bit behind, and not every chip is going to have the NPU integrated in the CPU chip, the same as it is with TPM version 2. In cases where a manufacturer doesn't want to use one of these new CPU chips, they can use the regular CPU chips, but they may put on the motherboard a new NPU integrated circuit that has to be designed into the whole design of the motherboard. So, bottom line, this is a hardware accelerator for artificial intelligence to speed up response time. Second of all, and this will be farther down the road, it could be up to a couple years probably, you'll be able to disconnect from the internet, and any programs on your computer that have AI capability to do something will be able to do it faster and without connecting to the internet. That's where this whole thing is headed. And I have several of these articles. I'm including them with today's handout. This explains what it is, and the new AI chips explained. Somewhere down the later this year, I think AMD will have Ryzen chips with some of the NPUs. Here's the Intel. They call them Core Ultra processors, and they contain this NPU in them. Then you have this one here, meet the Core Ultra processor lineup. They'll give you some clue of what is coming first, and it probably will not get heavy the rest of this year in new model chips. It'll be mostly, we're on generation 14 now, but look at generation 15 and beyond to all have either an NPU or a large portion of them having the NPU. This is another one you're going to get in the thing. Confused about it? This explains it further. Hang loose for 1 second. I gotta get rid of this thing again. And I attend another meeting called the CFCS WinSig. You're going to get most all these articles here, and I want to touch upon a couple just without bringing them up because this system is kind of taxed as is. Windows 11 will soon no longer boot PCs that are too old to boot. My two machines directly in front of me are too old. You have to have a Core i3, i5, or i7, or i9 processor, first generation to the present, to be able to keep booting your computer after 24H2, which they think will be out in September. There is no Windows 12 this year, and the reason is the NPU. They want to probably push this off till next year sometime when there are more machines in people's hands that have an NPU. The other alternative is to have a gamer's class discrete video processing card. You can only put this in a desktop unit, and I am certain are going to have high memory, well over 8 gigabytes on the card. Somebody was guessing at a price that even I would jump at, much lower than reality. Real high-end graphic cards can go as high as $1,500, and decent ones down to the $500 to $800 range. But it's the speed of the unit. You got to read reviews, and the amount of memory that are key to trying to use that if you don't have a new system with an NPU circuit in it. Next, Windows 11 update reportedly lands in less than a month. This is another momentum number 5, probably coming out sometime next month. I knew of a USB 4, but this is a USB 4 version 2 will be coming soon to Windows 11 if you got the hardware to support it, because this thing supposedly may be able to go as fast as 80 megabits per second. Not 5, not 10, not 20, 80. Microsoft is bringing yet another feature to Windows 10 users. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I'll let you read the article. You'll get in the list. There's a new Power Toys on the way. So if you're using the Power Toys, be watching for an update probably within the next 30 days or less. Major update in 24H2. They're giving you a little preview of what is likely, not absolutely, going to come in 24H2. 19 insights into what Microsoft's future of work report looks like from 2023. Before buying a Windows 11 AI PC in 2024, this is being able to find units that have the NPU processor, because it's going to be critical down the line, especially mobile devices. Also, things like NUCs. Outlook has new data collection service. And the way it sounds in this article, man, they are going to collect tons of stuff on anything and everything you do and be able to read all your emails. This, I believe, is restricted to the desktop version that you can either have on your desktop or in MS365. I don't know that this also applies to Outlook.com, the free online browser. And Outlook decried as a surveillance tool for targeted advertising. Yes, it probably is, because they are trying to use this as a new revenue stream, because some of the other things like Windows itself are not profitable at all. Do you still make these 19 ridiculous tech myths as believable? How Home Network might soon get a new, simpler name. I didn't check that one out yet. This down here is a new browser search engine that touts AI into something new and different, and they supposedly don't track anything you do. Good luck. Then there's two articles here on Brave Browser, 7 tips to speed it up, and one on how to properly configure Brave Browser, which touts as being a very private type of browser. If you're using incognito or a similar type browser feature, they are not really private at all. Your ISP, for one, can see everything you're doing. 3 simple tricks for remembering strong passwords. Those are all going to be in today's handout. Now, any questions so far? Or did I put all of you to sleep? Okay. Be that way.
Sometimes you might do those 19 myths just for curiosity.
You first of all need to go through the 19 myths.
Yeah, you're right on that.
I know. That's why I said it. I'm also getting nagware on my Windows 11 machine here about using and setting up the new backup utility, replacing the old Windows 7 backup program that goes to OneDrive. I'm dubious of doing it. If you don't use OneDrive or use it very little, the amount of storage you get will do a lot of backups, and that can be a good thing. But if you use your OneDrive much at all, and I use it some. The idea is the more you use it, the sooner you're going to run out of space, and then you're going to have to contact Microsoft to increment your storage capacity for a fee. The minimum one is a couple dollars a month, which they usually collect annually. So that means you'd be paying $24 for whatever the minimum increment is. I think it's 100 megabytes for $24 a year. And before the next year ends, you got to re-up. Otherwise, you may lose all the content of your OneDrive if you don't. If you get MS365, you get a terabyte of storage. But again, if you don't re-up your MS365 before it expires, you might lose all your information out on that 1 terabyte OneDrive. Just a word of warning. Oh, aren't we having fun?
Yes, we are.
Well, I don't know how you have fun doing taxes. Darn
Pays
it.
the mortgage.
What's a mortgage? Hmm?
If
Terry?
you have children, grandchildren, you'll learn.
Terry, what's a mortgage? I've never had one,
Oh,
and I'm not a renter or a leaser.
well, we had to, help the kids through college, so you end up with a mortgage.
Well, in that case, since they can't finance their own education now that they're classified adults, I ain't going to put my neck on the line.
Yeah, well, these
Anyway,
college federal loans are,
yeah, well,
really,
the federal
really
FAFSA,
could be a disaster.
the FAFSA is screwed up. It's known. They are trying to straighten it out. They're trying to simplify it and made a mess of it.
Yes,
That's a known fact.
yes.
Okay, now let's get into this here and see if I can fry some more synapses. Okay, I'm into Bluetooth devices, and some systems, especially desktops, usually do not come with Bluetooth. However, some desktops will come with Wi-Fi. It depends on the hardware characteristics of that. If it mimics the Wi-Fi for a laptop inside of a desktop, you get a card that you would find also in a laptop, and it contains Bluetooth. So you would have Bluetooth and you could turn it on. If not, and I don't know how well you can see this, this here is a USB dongle. It's strictly for adding Bluetooth to a traditional desktop and that doesn't have Bluetooth built in. And you plug it in and it says, you got Bluetooth. Now, what do you want to do with the Bluetooth? You can add devices, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically it asks you, is the new device a Bluetooth device, a wireless display, or dock? And a dock is a plug-in module to a USB port that extends out ports. And if you have a Thunderbird 3 or 4, the dock can have a video port that you can hook to your monitor. Most docks are used by laptops. I'll tell you that right now. Wireless monitors, now that's a different story. There are wireless monitors, TVs, and PCs you can mirrorcast to. But also, if you've got a tablet, there's a strong possibility you will be able to use it as a wireless secondary display. Also, you have this everything else, such as an Xbox controller. If you want to play Xbox games for PCs, you want to use an Xbox controller, and through this entry here is how you would pair that controller to your PC so that you can play the game live. There's also DLNA, I forget the acronym, what it stood for, and other devices. That's as far as I'm going to go into that. If you have Bluetooth headset, as an example, or earbuds, Bluetooth earbuds, this is how you would pair it, and you would specify it's a Bluetooth device, and you go through the pairing instructions. Printers and scanners. I want to leave this one really until later. These are default devices that come with Windows, and they have for years. With Linux, it will recognize some of my printers automatically and install them on the Linux. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen with printers on Windows. You have to add a device, and I'm going to only show you a little bit here. And it's saying, hey, I recognize these 3 printers, but I have 5. So I can easily add these 3 devices by clicking on the add of each one I want. I may not want all these printers attached to this Windows device. That's your choice. The other 2 I would have to do add manually, and I'm going to briefly show you that one. Okay, I hope you can see this. I'm going to see if I can enlarge this a little bit. Come on. Oh, you're not going to play with me. All right. Let's see if I can do it on the other one. I'm trying to enlarge this a little bit for you. No. Unfortunately, I can't enlarge this. At least I don't think so. No, I can't even enlarge the little box here. But basically, find a printer by other options. My printer is a little older. Help me find it. Or select the shared printer by name. You got to know the system name of your printer. If you don't, it ain't going to work. Add a printer by IP address. As I said earlier, it's best at the printer to go into settings, networking, and depending on whether you're talking to the printer with Ethernet or Wi-Fi, go into one of those 2 areas, and you want to set up an IP address for that printer. You would come back here, put move the radio button there, continue on, and you'd put in the IP address you just created on that printer, and it would find it and connect up. You can also add a Bluetooth wireless or network discoverable printer. I have none of those. I only have Ethernet, and Wi-Fi. This does not apply to USB printers, by the way. Add a local printer or network printer with manual settings. I have never gotten into this one. Some of these are a real pain in the butt. I usually use this IP address to get to mine because I set all my printers to an IP address that is static. This does not, again, apply to USB attached printers. So I'm going to get out of that one and I'm going to back up. Now we come down a little bit. We have phone link. I don't link my phones. Some people, especially who work from home for a business, definitely would probably do this. Some individuals might do it. This allows you to transfer files either way between the phone and your computer. Some of them will work wirelessly, and some of them you have to have a cable. And I want to emphasize this on the cable. The majority of cables for phones have only 2 wires out of 4. That means they can only charge your phone. What you have to have for this transfer, if your phone needs a cable to your computer, is a 4-wire. The other 2 wires are for data transfer. And that means that you get the ability to, say, offload pictures faster than probably through Wi-Fi and to your laptop or desktop computer. But you can also put other pictures your computer has out on your phone that you may be wanting to show friends and relatives and other people. So I'll let you guys explore that one that are interested in it. Cameras. I wonder what cameras might be. There used to be some laptops that didn't always come with a webcam camera built in. That would be, you'd be hard pressed to find a laptop these days that doesn't have a webcam built in. So you have your camera. But when it comes to desktops, you have to have an external USB webcam camera that has a microphone. And that's what it's talking about. And if you go into start button on here, I don't have it on my pinned items, so I go to all apps, and right here the third item under C is camera. If I click it and I have a camera here attached to this machine, which I do not, you would see another image of me. And with that camera view, you can take a snapshot of yourself and use it as an image on Zoom. Instead of showing your name, it would show that image to everybody when you're not having your live camera on. Another thing you can do in the camera application, this is the camera app. Yeah, I know you can't find my camera. Gee whiz, ain't that something? You're gonna really restrict me. Well, I can't show it to you, but generally speaking, there's a button for taking a snapshot, and there's now a little camera there that will allow you to record a video also through that camera. I don't remember if it picks up sound or not through your microphone. And you can use that for a number of different purposes. I'll let your imagination carry you away. Next is something called a mouse, whatever that might be. And it gives you some primitive settings. Is it a left-hand mouse? That's the default for 80% of the population. If you're a southpaw, you'll change it to a right probably, unless you're ambidextrous. Mouse pointer speed, most of us do fine with the speed as is. So I don't think too many people will be adjusting mouse speed. You have the roll of the mouse wheel for scrolling. It says here I can do multiple lines at a time as a default, or I can change it to one screenful at a time. You have to use your own judgment because that may not be exactly what you want. Just giving you a word of advice to practice with. Lines to scroll at a time. Right now, this is set to 3 as the default. That's usually the case. But you can increase this to many more lines every time you move your scroll wheel one little notch. Scroll inactive windows when hovering over them. I've never tried this feature, so I don't know how well it works. I think it's a fairly new feature, meaning that it hasn't been around for an extreme amount of time. There's additional mouse settings here, a mouse pointer, size and color that you can do. I'm going to get into that at a later time, and there's a reason why I'm going to do it my way. Multiple display settings. This can be important if you have 2 or more displays on your computer, because depending on how you hook them up, instead of going, say, from your left screen to your right screen straight across, your hookup may be such that it's just the reverse. On your left screen, you have to move the mouse off to the left side, and suddenly it appears on the right side of the second screen. Something to drive you nuts with. I had experience with that when I was helping out a business. So that's Bluetooth mouse. Then you have Pen and Windows Ink. Pen, primarily, to the best of my knowledge, applies to laptops and tablets, especially the combo units where you flip the keyboard over the back of the display screen, or you detach the screen physically from the keyboard. And a lot of those machines have a electronic pin that has a little battery in it that periodically you'll have to replace. With it, you can handwrite if you know how to write in script, unlike much of our younger generations that do not know how to write in script. And Windows Ink is a piece of software built into Windows that will help train the computer to translate your handwritten script into normal typed text. But you can save your hand script also. Autoplay. This is for removable drives. and memory cards that contain videos that you may wish to autoplay. I don't use the feature, and the reason is it autoplay sometimes can execute programs you don't want to have execute. So I found it to be dangerous, and long ago I stopped using it. I disabled that particular feature, and I will double click any video I want to play, whether it's on a removable drive, a flash drive, uh, an SSD connected up by USB, whatever. Then you have USB notifications and connections. Show notifications. The PC is charging slowly over USB. I don't know of anybody that is charging over USB other than those with new devices that are using USB-C connections. This would then give you a warning. Something's not right. The PC doesn't seem to have electricity coming in through the USB-C port. Maybe it got disconnected from the power module, or the power module got unplugged, or a power strip that you're using got turned off, or its plug pulled out. Whatever the case may be, check it out before you lose power. Notifications, generally speaking, I leave that alone, and I don't care about it. The only thing I want to hear is a new drive going in. It gives a little musical tone. It may pop up a message, usually about scanning the drive. That's from the AV program. Sometimes it will open up File Explorer, showing you that drive and its content automatically, but not always. Especially on drives that it recognizes that you plugged in before, it may not automatically bring up File Explorer. Any questions on this particular category? Not everybody at once, one at a time. Well, I'm glad I put several of you to sleep. It makes the job easier and quicker. Next thing I'm going to go into is network internet. As you can see, a lot of my devices, for stability purposes and the highest throughput rate, I am putting in Ethernet mode. So I have a cable connected up to a switch, which is ultimately connected up to the router. However, you start getting into Wi-Fi 6E, and the new Wi-Fi 7 is out. Those might start challenging speed-wise Ethernet. But the question will remain on its reliability and steadiness of your internet connection. So take that with a grain of salt. It may work in the future if you've got a modern router. It may not be as stable, but it should be more stable than any of the current routers most of you have. Now, Wi-Fi is turned on. Why? Because several of my Windows 11 machines either came with the capability of Wi-Fi like in a laptop, such as these machines that I've shown you before, and they have a slot for a USB card like you would find in a modern laptop, which gives you Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The only thing it may not have is the antenna, and you have to buy separate antenna and cables to wire that part up on those. On other desktop units, some of them came with only Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. I had to use a dongle, or in some cases, uh, I was able to put in to an SFF a Wi-Fi card like in a laptop. I got antenna and wires, and I hooked them up to a back plate where a plug-in card could go, and I have Wi-Fi there. There are some other options. There's actually an all-in-one device you plug into an X1 PCIe slot in a computer that has it, and it you screw on two antennas that come with the card, and you're in business as soon as you set it up the rest of the way. It shows that there is Ethernet. They changed how to change settings in here. I always put in DNS addresses. So I click here on edit. It brings this up here, and I can turn on 4 or 6 or both. I have no 6, so I leave it off. I put in the 2 addresses I normally use and click on save. Now I'm going to back up to the Wi-Fi, and believe it or not, it has similar capabilities. It since it's on, it'll show me available networks. I'm in a little bit of a congested area, but probably not as bad as Bob Tremick. So as you can see, I got a lot of neighbors with Wi-Fi, and so it can be a problem. And some of these antennas have long range versus what you normally would get in a laptop. So I have USB devices I can plug in, single antenna, and I can be at my public library out in the parking lot on their Wi-Fi, doing whatever I want to do on my computer. So some of these add-on antennas can pull in very weak signals, and you can get a good internet capability. Just tossing that one out. But there are other settings. You can set up a VPN, your mobile hotspot. Basically, this is another thing. If I'm not using my Wi-Fi right now because I'm using Ethernet, I can turn my Wi-Fi into a hotspot, and if I have friends here with mobile devices, they can link into my hotspot when I give them the information, login name and password, and they can use their devices on my internet. Understand, they would be in my network. That means any machines that are on might be accessible by them, and some people are nosy. Better choice, go into your router, set up a guest account on either 2.4 or 5, and trust me, they'll want 5, and they get internet access, but no access to your computer's network inside your house. So they can't eavesdrop on your computers and what you're doing on them, or steal files and photos, etc. Proxy I've never used. It's to me an old-fashioned idea. you would have a proxy server that could be as simple as a small device that looks like a router, and it tries to mask your IP address like a VPN will do. Only it doesn't have the usually the encryption, but those that do have encryption, you don't know exactly where they are going out to. So your ISP might be able to see what you're doing just as if you weren't using a proxy or a VPN. VPN will encrypt it, and your ISP has no idea what you're doing on the internet. You can also set up the VPN on your one of your home machines. When you are out of the house with a mobile device of any kind, you can attach to your home VPN so that between your mobile device, wherever you're at, all the communications is being encrypted and goes to your home computer that's on, and it'll decrypt it there and put it out on the internet, the same as regular paid for internet does, but that goes to a business's server. And so between your device and the business server is encrypted, but when it leaves the business, it goes out on the internet like normal internet traffic. Dial-up. Don't laugh too much. A lot of people in rural areas are still stuck having to use dial-up. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than Starlink or HughesNet, etc. Even though they may get better speed with either of those two options. And advanced network settings. If you click on that, it gives you a breakdown of what's there, allows you to disable what you don't want to have running at a given time. Bluetooth, they're starting to realize, can be a big security issue. You should have Bluetooth on your phone and tablets turned off except when you are using them. And too many people use them too much. The Bluetooth is on all the time, and other people can pick up the Bluetooth communications for whatever it's worth. Let's see here. There's one more thing in here. If you, there's two other things you can change here under advanced network settings. Advanced sharing settings. You can have a private or a public network. You can only have one or the other for each device. If you are on public, believe it or not, you have a slight bit more security than if you change it to a private network, which your home is a private network. Figure that one out. Let me know. So those are the real cruxes of those two particular areas. There is another one. I'm going to go back under Ethernet, and I think they moved it on me. Basically, an old screen I liked using had some extra features and showed you every network connection your computer is set up for. And you can go into each one and make all these kind of editable changes that you want to, and in one spot rather than having to go to each connection and make the changes from there. Okay, we are at just about 9 o'clock. Any questions in network and internet? Boy, you're a talkative bunch. Tell you that much. So I'm going to stop sharing there. And let's see if I can get my file. And I got to move that up so I can get to chat. And yeah. All right. And let's see here. There it is. Okay. I have put out there the article listing. There are 4 additional articles in between what I briefly was showing you earlier on the web browser. And they have to do with hardware acceleration and what that issue is all about. Now, I was having problems anyhow on these 2 antiques I'm running. And they had old low-end cards, less than a gigabyte of RAM. I changed them both to more modernistic cards that have 2 gigabyte. I think they were circa 2014 as a guess. Might have been 2015. And I get improved performance. Also, some of the problems I was having, even with Zoom video, have disappeared with that card. I have some Windows 11 machines that I have not been using for Zoom meetings as yet. That's coming down the road within probably 18 months. But in either case, one of them has a NVIDIA 1066. These 2 have Radeon cards. I have a couple other machines I still have to get discrete video cards. And if you want a real laugh, these units that I've shown you before, they're bigger than Bob Crux's Nux, which also Al Cheeks had. Believe it or not, on the HPs, I can get my hands on a discrete graphics card to put in one of these. I have to take out the 2.5-inch drive bay. They're the units that I found so far are brand new, cheap. They cost $60. But the worst part is most of these units will run with either, depending on processor you have in them, 65, 90 watt power supplies, but some will even run on a 35 watt power supply. 35 and 65 are pretty standard for most laptops, unless you got something very old. With this discrete graphics card in one of these units, you have to have a 150 watt power supply. And the biggest one I know of, Ed Keating said he's got, he showed it, at 200 watts. So it's something that you never know what you might end up having to do with some of these units. But I was flabbergasted when I accidentally stumbled across the fact that I can have a discrete card in one of these units. And it's kind of important to me because I got a unit that I would like to change the CPU on for better performance. It's got a gaming processor in it right now that contains the video basic hardware and uses your RAM memory as shared memory for the graphics. If you take that gaming processor out and put in a standard processor, you got no video unless you put in this discrete card and get a high-end power supply to make it all work. How does that one grab you? But I like hardware. It's my foundation. Playing with the hardware, seeing how old. I've got over 15-year-old machines here that have been running since we've had CCS Zoom, and I've had only some minor issues starting last August or September. I turned off hardware acceleration in Zoom, got a little bit further, and finally bit the bullet, bought some old used graphic cards, plugged it into both machines, and they both run better than what they did before. And I can turn Zoom's hardware acceleration back on. But there are settings even within the browsers that will say under system or system settings, depending on the browser, that you have, except for Firefox, I forgot about that. You have keep the browser running except for the user interface. If you hit the X on the browser, it removes the user interface, and 80% of the browser code is still sitting there occupying your memory. I usually turn that off. Right below it, you'll see something about hardware acceleration if available. On some machines, you have to look at specs very carefully. You may get accelerated audio, but for those machines that don't have that high-end audio, and you're an audiophile that loves your music, you'll have to get something like a sound blaster or similar sound card that you plug into the machine, and that can only be done on a desktop or an SFF model computer. And the SFF machines require low profile graphic and audio cards, not the full size. Any further ideas, comments, suggestions?
I've got a question.
Not
On the
allowed.
bottom of the Zoom thing, there's a thing that says AI companion.
Right.
I haven't noticed that before.
Yes, that's been around for a while. I haven't been playing with it myself. I know of other groups I attend meetings at that have used it. Basically, it can give a AI version transcript of what took place in the meeting, verbally, not images. So it would be strictly a verbal transcript. And because it's AI generated, you also have to say, I got to take this document with a grain of salt. I got to review it and make certain that what it's reporting is, to the best of my knowledge, what was said and by whom. And I don't know if I don't remember. I didn't. It's been a while since I looked at one of these transcripts. I don't remember if it can identify each speaker or not. I think if I'm correct, when somebody else wants to speak, they either have to say their name or uh, the host would have to specify their name to go ahead and speak. And that way, their name and what is said by them goes under their name. And you have to keep doing this rigmarole with names to get them into the transcript. Because I don't think it'll read the names that are on each of our images here to know who was talking and put their name into the transcript.
Okay.
But I could be wrong about that. With AI, you never know. It could be smart enough to be able to do that.
Well, it looks like I've got it. You have to send the request to the host to start it,
And guess
so
who
it
the
doesn't
host is?
automatically.
Guess who the host is?
Yeah.
It's CCS, which is either me or Sanford or Ed Keating.
Right.
And yeah, you could do that. I would get a message and I could say yes or no. And it's mostly, as far as I'm concerned, since the host has to do it or a co-host has to do it to activate it, it's really their option, not the individual's option. But if a group uses the AI companion a lot for transcripts, then it could be a good thing that somebody else requests that that be going if they know it's not running at the time. And I don't remember if there's an indicator that tells you it's running or not, to be honest. It's been several months since I last did anything with it. We have the capability. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
If we could get people to take the transcript and make a blurb for especially timeline of where things occur in a video before it's put up on YouTube, that'd be terrific. Anything else from anybody? Did anybody learn anything? I see we lost Terry, Jim Kincaid, and I think somebody else. Because I think we had 7 people total. And I'm excluding Joe Hendrickson that dropped out before we even started. And I don't know why they dropped out, but that's their issue, not mine. All right.
Very good.
In that case, I will call it a night and say, like Peter Menaging would say, aloha.